There we go. Just getting the vape smoke out of the way.
Same problem.
Who gives a shit? Welcome back to the show. My name is Dean. Nice to see you. Friday, which is great news. We got some stuff to decamp today. We're going to do some viral videos, maybe stuff that you missed, get into some Jordan Peterson stuff, maybe a little Twitter shit. Who knows? We'll figure it out. And we're also going to talk about tipping. Seems to be a big issue right now, and I had a problem with it last night. Ryan Lindley joins me. Lachlan Cross is on his way. Also, Kristen Kimmick standing by. She is in charge of, I think she's the head babe at Bills Mafia Babes.
Yeah, the founder and president.
Electric.
Yeah.
She's an electric factory. Wait till you guys meet her. She is awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a Damar Hamlin update, which is all good news today, which is kind of nice. But we're going to talk about tipping coming up in just a couple minutes.
You sound like shit.
Yeah, I'm sick. But I'm one of those guys that just doesn't complain about it. I just kind of do it, right? I just get on with it. I fill myself with as many Dayquil as I can, and then at night time for the NyQuil, and I just keep going. That's what drugs are made for people to just keep going.
Dennis Leary said that was the 13th step.
Yeah, it is.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, it is. And anyway, everybody's got something they're dealing with, right? So no big deal. Again, Lachlan's on his way. But let's start with some good news. And I'm so excited to have this young lady on the show. She is a breath of fresh air. If you follow her on Twitter, you get stuff like this. Comfort food, extra saucy. I'm rubbing it in. My mouth was watering looking at that picture, and she posted it yesterday. She is from Buffalo, and she is an absolute fan. Her name is Kristen Kimmick, and she is in charge of Bills Mafia Babes. Please welcome her to the show for her inaugural visit. Nice to see you, Kristen Kimmick. At Kimmick86, at Bills Mafia Babes. You can follow her both places.
Welcome to the show.
How are you, young lady? Nice to see you.
I am doing much better today, I think, as all the rest of Bills Mafia can say as well.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's just get to it real quick. Let's start with Damar, because this is the story of the year. And Buffalo has seen some stories in this past year, but I mean, you know, the support, the viral sensation of the giving that we've seen, people trying to get involved in showing support for this young man, 24-year-old safety, Bills safety, collapsed on the field after tackling T. Higgins last week on Monday Night Football. Take us through your emotions. Take us through kind of the start. We'll work through the story, and we'll get to the great news, but take us through what you've heard about Damar real quick, and not just the news about his health, but how you guys are feeling in Buffalo today as Bills fans, Bills Mafia fans, Bills Mafia Babes.
Yeah, so I was actually in the game. I went to Cincinnati. I've gone to all the games this season. It was a bucket list thing to do the whole schedule. It's been an incredible season. You know, I mean, we even had some other wrenches thrown. We had the 7 feet of snow that forced us to go to Detroit for our Browns game, which was supposed to be a home game. Yeah. You know, and then 4 days later, we're going back to Detroit for Thanksgiving. We dealt with 120-degree heat in Miami. We dealt with some major things, and this team dealt with some major things this year. So we're headed into the last game in Cincinnati. When I tell you the vibe in that whole city was electric. I got there 2 days ahead of time. I went there on New Year's Eve. We actually had a Bills Mafia New Year's Eve party in Cincinnati. And so we get through all of that, and everybody game days around, and everybody's just, you know, Bengals fans are partying with Bills fans are partying with Bengals fans. It's going to be this massive game, right? And so we get into the game, and, you know, everybody knows what happened. But
yeah, first quarter, it's like 8-9 minutes into the game. First quarter, down 7-3. Bills are down 7-3. And Damar Hamlin makes this incredible tackle. You're watching this thing like everybody else, correct? And then he just collapses. And where are you?
I was 10th row in the end zone. So I was looking dead on at it from the end of the bowl. And it was the scariest thing that I've ever experienced, watching him collapse, you know, experienced in a football game, watching him collapse. And there's things that the broadcast didn't show. And I do want to call those out a little bit, because while, I mean, everybody on the broadcast was seeing the players' reactions. And that's when we all started to realize it too, is that, we were seeing the players' reactions in real time. The most significant one to me was Tre'Davious White came running into the end zone directly in front of us and just dropped to the ground. And it was things like that you realize that this wasn't the normal, a guy that went down and maybe he's got an ACL tear, he got the wind knocked out of him. I mean, you realize very quickly that it was a very dire situation. And then I think the broadcast was getting a little bit more information because people around us were starting to get text messages because that the players surrounded him so that the crowd couldn't see exactly what was happening.
Yeah, that was incredible. It was like this semicircle to protect what was going on the field, and a lot of the players couldn't even watch. They just turned their backs to it, right?
Yeah, and a lot of them couldn't. Like, you're right, and they turned their backs, and now we're getting text messages in the stands that they're doing CPR, and there's things in the stands though that a lot of people on you couldn't see on the broadcast, and it was almost like the team colors. It was like the team colors just evaporated. There was no orange and black and blue and red anymore. It was Bengals fans holding on to Bills fans, Bills fans holding on to Bengals fans. People were praying in the stands together. People were crying in the stands together. And, and then we see the ambulance come out on the field and he gets loaded in. And then it was like you could hear a pin drop in that stadium. I mean, when they took him out, it was quiet enough that you could hear the ambulance leaving the stadium with the sirens on.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too. I heard the same thing. It was as full as the stadium was. It didn't sound like there was anybody there. It was just dead silent. It was pretty dramatic to see from here. I could just imagine what it was like for you in the stands.
Yeah, it was. There's been, even in the days after this, it's been constant love from Bengals to Bills fans and vice versa. People checking in on each other in the Twitter community, on the Facebook community, and people just trying to have open dialogue about mental health awareness. A lot of that too, which I think is really important. Not just for the team and the players and everybody that was on that field, but also, a lot of people that in Buffalo, these players are like family. They really are. They come into the city. We adopt them. We love them. We don't have a lot of stuff in Buffalo. So this team is a huge presence here. It's really what Buffalonians live for. And so it was not only, it felt like you lost a family member,
Yeah. Well, and can we just kind of talk about that for a second? Because, unless, and I don't even understand it, right? Like, I mean, fan bases are fan bases, and here in Canada, our hockey fan bases are mocked widely, right? It's just we like to hate other fan bases. I don't know another NFL fan base that doesn't like Bills Mafia or Bills fans because of that incredible intrinsic relationship the fans have with the players in that city. It is non-existent, save maybe Green Bay. But it's not even the same, right? It is non-existent. The fact that Buffalo is situated where it is, the fact that the fan base has had PTSD for 50 years, and they continue to come together. Can you speak to that? What is that? How is it that this fan base has such an incredible symbiotic relationship with the players?
I think there's a lot of, I've tried to figure this out for years, right? And it actually started to make the most sense to me this year. Between the 7 feet of snow, between the blizzard that we didn't even have time to process the blizzard that took 42 from us before we ended up, dealing with Damar Hamlin going through what he went through. We had, I think I mentioned earlier, we also had a house fire right in between these two things that we lost 5 children in one family too. Wow. And it's been one thing after another. But one thing about Buffalo is that, and it's something I think that when you're born and raised here, it's almost like bred into you as a child because of these snowstorms, is that you always help your neighbors. So when we get one of these massive snowstorms, the first thing that everybody does is we go out, we check our neighbors, we make sure everybody has, heat, power, electric. During the Buffalo blizzard, my street, specifically, I'm right in downtown Buffalo. My entire street lost power except for 5 houses, which also meant that everybody lost heat. And since nobody could leave the street, everybody here piled into those 5 houses. There was houses that had 13, 14 people in them.
Wow.
But it's because when you go through things like that, you have to check on your neighbors, and there's people, out digging people out. And you create almost, like you said, like this symbiotic relationship where when any of us is hurting, then all of us are hurting. And we figure out a way to do everything we can to help those people, just like we would during a snowstorm. So I think that that's really kind of where it comes from. The roots of it comes from. But that's also where, when you see Bills Mafia, I mean, the majority of us have been built in, born and raised here. And so many have transplanted elsewhere and taken their Bills fandom with them, that it's also now starting to spread into other communities, which, all across the nation, which I think is amazing to see.
It's worldwide too, right? Like Kristen Loc Cross joins us fresh out of a nice yoga class. He's looking good and fresh. Nice to have you here, brother. But it transcends Western New York. It transcends the United States of America, to the point where 4 or 5 weeks ago, I get invited to this place up in Keswick called Bill's Helmet Bar. And I'm like,
wild.
I guess. I went with Ray. Ray. And this is like an hour north of me, and it's in the middle of a small town. And you walk into this backyard, and it is pure Bills insanity. And there were people from Buffalo watching that game that drove up from Buffalo to be with other Bills fans. And I couldn't explain it. Like, when I came home, I was telling them, they're like, what was it like? I'm like, it's hard to explain being around Bills fans. Like, they when the game's on, it's the only thing that matters other than Bills Mafia and other Bills fans. And it's hard. Like, I've never been around that. And again, in Canada, we're so entitled with hockey. We're so entitled with lifestyle. We're so entitled with bullshit that we go through, that it made me even more of a Bills fan. I've been a Bills fan since I was a kid. Not like you, not like this. There you go. There's the Helmet Bar. My boys at the Helmet Bar, maybe the nicest people you'll ever meet. But these are Canadian people that literally spent tens of thousands of dollars turning their backyard into a Bills helmet. Right? Like, it's an incredible culture. I guess that's the way you could say it. It's not even a fan base. It's a culture at this point, isn't it?
It really is. That's the best way to explain it. And I think that's also kind of what connects us to the players, especially this team. I mean, obviously, everybody knows what happened in the 90s, right? Yeah. And that was traumatic in and of itself.
Something about Super Bowls, right?
Like, if I hear "Boy, I Love Losing Super Bowls" one more time,
Right. You don't want to hear that anymore either.
But even then, I think that was something that brought the community together in a way. Yeah. That was brutal. That was it. I mean, I was just a kid, right? Mm-hmm. Then we've got the playoff drought. And like, to put this one really into perspective, I was 14 years old. I was a freshman in high school when the Bills went into the playoff drought in 2000. I was 32 years old when we came out of that. So like, you're thinking, I went through high school, I went through college, I went through, and that's just me. So you got to think my entire generation has never even experienced a winning team, right? Like in our adulthood years. So now we've got this team they're just wild. And you've got Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane building this absolute monster of a team. They've built a culture in that locker room. They're all really likable guys, and they immerse themselves into the community. I mean, when the massacre happened in May, the entire team is out there. They're all doing drives. They're at the food drives that we're doing over on the east side. They're helping out. They're raising money. You've even got some of the, the veteran players, like Thurman Thomas has the Thurman Thomas Foundation, raised, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's almost like, I think when you come into Buffalo, you kind of get sucked into this community where we are a little bit different than any of the other cities. I truly believe that we're unique.
You've seen some shit.
Yeah. I jokingly a couple of years ago, because I watch NFL like a lot of Canadians do, Kristen, and you may or may not know this, but we don't generally have an allegiance to a team. It seems weird to me when I'm at the bar and I know a guy that grew up in Saskatchewan is a huge Dolphins fan. I'm like, what? Why? Yeah. I like teal. Okay. All right. It just seems odd to me. But so I started to troll football fans by picking a team. So I picked the Browns. So I was like, I'm going to pick the Browns. It was the year that they drafted that really annoying quarterback.
Oh yeah,
Johnny
what's his name
Football.
again? Johnny Football. Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Manziel. Right?
Manziel.
Yeah,
So
that's
I bought a Manziel jersey and I fully dug in. I was just a total cock about it. And then last year, we don't need to get into it. I was like, with the new quarterback, I'm like, I cannot even jokingly cheer for this team.
Yeah.
I mean, what a nightmare. I mean, how can you even look yourself in the face being a Browns fan? And I was doing it ironically. But I said online, I went, I need to pick a new team because I can't bring myself to cheer for the Browns. And a couple of people said, you should join Bills Mafia. And so I got a hoodie and I'm cheering for the Bills, and Bills are my team now. But I got to say, I was a little taken aback by all of the table videos. Like, I must have got 100 videos sent to me in various forms of these Lugans jumping off trucks and buildings.
RVs are my favorite. The top
favorite is my RV
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that? I mean, I love it.
Where did the table shit start?
Yeah.
You know what? We're weird. That's really we're a weird fan base. And I think all of this started during the playoff drought. I mean, like, what else did we have to do, right? Like, we were still selling out games. Like, I remember during the playoff drought, you could go and walk down the street and scalp tickets for like $10, you know?
Yeah.
We were still doing that and going to these games, but it was more like a social hour. And that's when people are getting drunk and you're seeing all the weird stuff. And so I think that's where that started, but we've just never lost it. Like, I'll tell you one of the other things that I know people were very divided on this. But
public fornication? No.
Yeah, we've seen some weird stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the
Bills Mafia porn. I've seen some of it. It's great.
You know. But the snowball fight during the Dolphins game.
Yeah.
That one, because the other thing too is that, again, you can only see on the broadcast, and I know that they were broadcasting that it was like we were all whipping them at the Dolphins fans. Nah, that was a select few people, and frankly, after they said that they were going to start issuing 15-yard penalties to the Bills for the snowballs, then it was the Dolphins fans throwing them at Dolphins players trying to get up with 15-yard penalties. They're just throwing them at each other, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're in there having a good old time. And, I've got one video that's hysterical from it that we had just scored a touchdown, and I just panned to the crowd, and I'm not saying it was just a few snowballs. It was like thousands of snowballs going up in the air, get whipped at each other. Like,
I was laughing because your friend Ashley Petty from Bills Mafia Babes, she posted a video of it as well.
Yeah.
And her comment on the video was, "I love this place."
We're just goofy, man.
I love it, though. I love it.
Yeah.
Kristen Kimmick is our guest. She's the co-founder of Bills Mafia Babes, member of the Bills Mafia. We're talking about the team, the relationship with the group, obviously because of the Damar Hamlin stuff. Let's get an update because great news. Does a FaceTime with his team yesterday. A little bit of a rocky moment. I want you to win. What are we waiting for? But tell us a little bit about Damar and his situation now, as it stands that you know of, because you and I were texting earlier, and I'm like, great news, and you're like, I started crying. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was such a rough couple of days. I'm just
there you go, Bills Mafia Babes. Yeah, Kristen Kimmick.
There we are. But it was such a rough couple of days that I think, obviously, not even think, emotions ran so high with everybody. And it was like we were all waiting on bated breath for any sort of update. And, we're getting, every 6 or 8 hours we're getting from the Bills, like, hey, he's gone, things like he's gone from being on 100% oxygen to 50. He's, progressing, but it's still in critical condition in the ICU. So these first couple of days, it was still like, it didn't feel like anything was better, even though he was slowly progressing. And then when we got this morning, the more you learn about Damar, he's such a good kid. All the videos are surfacing. He's family oriented. He's funny. He's like this light in the locker room. He's a young guy. He's only 24. He's got his own foundation that he's that we raised, the world has raised over $7 million for at this point. It's just mind blowing.
Huge.
He's just an incredible human being. And this morning, my favorite thing so far is when the doctors said last night that he was able to write things. And the first thing that he did when he woke up was he wrote on a sheet of paper, who won the game? The first thing that he does. And so this morning, then they got him on a FaceTime, and I was watching the presser with Sean McDermott earlier. And one of the reporters asked, like, how did you pass the phone around with the FaceTime? And they said, no. They're like, we got him onto a big screen in the meeting room because he needed to be up there, big and large for everybody. And the first thing that he did towards them, because he's still, struggling to talk, even after they, extubated him, was that he got on FaceTime, and to the whole team, he just flexed, and then
nice. That's awesome.
He threw him the heart, which is kind of like one of his signature things. And he said, I love you boys so much. And it was just kind of like this moment where it almost felt like you felt the entire like nation and world just take like this huge sigh of relief,
And the pictures coming in from everywhere, all over Buffalo. Everybody's got a number 3 doing something with his number. Like the camaraderie that this is shown in Buffalo is, I've never seen it for anything like this before, ever.
No, me neither. And they've shown camaraderie, and they've shown togetherness and unity in that city for that team, for those players the entire time I've known them. Here's his GoFundMe. It's almost 8 million, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. Holy shit. Wow.
He I guess he's passed the goal of 2,500 $8 million. Some kids better be getting some PS5s next Christmas. And I'll tell you something. That's what I want to know. I want to know his reaction.
Yeah.
When they tell him, hey, by the way, while you were getting ready to live again, while you were out, while you were, going through this incredible fucking nightmare, and now that you're here, we have something to tell you.
Look what you did.
2,500 is now 8 million. And
who leaked that thing? I want to know who sent that out. Yeah.
What is GoFundMe?
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
A lot of different people. Obviously, people from Bills Mafia. That's what they do. Every time something like that happens, it's like, here's the link. Make sure you give. Let's see if we can help each other. And Buffalo has been through it. Like, not just this, Kristen, but you went through a laundry list of things that have happened in the city of Buffalo this last year. You went through the blizzard. You went through the fire that just happened. You went through the 7 feet of snow that just happened, obviously. And then this. I mean, you're talking about taking away the idea that your problems in the day-to-day really matter, right? And you guys struggle so much down in that beautiful area of Western New York that it's almost as if those struggles, that conflict, those things galvanize you guys more and more and more, to the point where you become the envy of NFL cities across, the United States of America. So I'm just floored by it, Kristen, and you've got to be too. You've got to be proud, after, and not just from the playoff drought from your teens till your 30s, but you've got to be proud. Like this is why you remain a fan, right? This is why you stay a fan of a team. This is why wins and losses, although very important, aren't why you love this team, right? Why do you love this team? What is it that you love about it, and when did that love start?
You nailed it. It's the camaraderie. It's the community that you're surrounded by. It's being with, being there on Sundays, and just it's a release, I think, for everybody. We go there and there's no bad vibes there. It's like, everybody's hugging everybody. You're talking to strangers. You're becoming friends with strangers. Everybody's bonding over the exact same thing. And even, no matter what we've been through, it like you just said, even in just the last 4 weeks, the city of Buffalo has been through trauma after trauma after trauma. And this Sunday is honestly going to be absolutely, that place is going to be rocking. I was nervous. I said it earlier. I was nervous. I was actually dreading going back into a football stadium after I was in Cincinnati on Monday. I couldn't fathom cheering when what was going on with Damar. I didn't know how we would get through that. But I think with, again, the updates that we had this morning, I'm hoping that the Bills, and I heard that the Bills are going to be doing something to, honor the medical staff that saved his life. And I think when those sorts of things, man, that the third floor of the third level of the Bills Stadium, they better hold on, because that place is literally I can't wait for it. And I think that this Sunday is going to be especially special for Bills Mafia. And I think you're going to see a lot more bonding and things like that than we have before.
So, Kristen, I think that I think everything happens for a reason, even stuff that's difficult. And the interesting thing about this episode on Sunday, and Damar, being carted off, and how everybody has responded, and I don't want to diminish what it meant to you as a fan, or to what it meant to Bills Mafia or the city of Buffalo, but it's odd to me that I just felt like we needed something like this. We needed a moment like this as not just sports fans, but just as sort of a community, because everybody is rallied behind this, And again, honestly, every morning I get up and the first thing I've been doing is looking for updates. I'm going right to the Buffalo Bills Twitter account, and I know so many people are very invested in this story. And again, like I said, I don't want to diminish what it means to you guys as football fans, but have you had that kind of thought as somebody that watches this game, thinking, you know what, this definitely had some kind of an impact on the US as a whole, and parts of Canada? Like it did. Like we've had kind of a shitty couple years, and this story and that GoFundMe, and just, it was needed. Yeah. It was almost needed.
Yeah, no, I do agree in some way. Obviously this entire thing was tragic. It was unfortunate. But now that we know that Damar is okay, well, he's got a long road ahead of him, yeah. But the fact that it looks like his brain is firing on all cylinders, which was one of the biggest, concerns here. I think I tweeted it out yesterday or today that someday Damar Hamlin is going to be able to see that he's not only like a miracle survivor, but he actually did the impossible during this, right? He brought together like not only a nation, but almost the entire world, like in love. And that's been a long, long, long time since we've experienced that. And especially in the United States, which it's no secret how divided this country has been over the last several years. And for that man, he's a hero in every sense of the word. He's a fighter. He's a hero. He's a special, special, special man.
Yeah, that's a great point, and it's a great thing to bring up, Loc. And I think that's a great thing. We go through these things, we watch things happen, and generally speaking, we watch division, we watch people tearing each other down. And for the past few days, didn't matter if you were vaccinated, didn't matter if you wore a mask, didn't matter if you were Republican, didn't matter if you were Democrat, didn't matter if you were right, didn't matter if you were left. What mattered was Damar Hamlin, and showing support for that young man. And everybody did it at the same time. And we didn't talk about those things all week, right? Obviously people did, because people have agendas and narratives they want to push when they see stuff like this. And I'm not even going to get into the vaccine shit. It's all bullshit. But I will say this is that not only is that a wonderful point about unity and these events that are so terrible have a way of bringing us together.
Yeah.
But the fascinating thing for me in all this, and I don't know if you guys have heard the 911 call or the call from the field of the Bills paramedics, who are going to be honored this weekend. But the second that young man went down on the radio, the head doctor for the Bills was like, "Bring everything. I don't like the way he went down. Let's get out there right now. Wow. Everybody, bring all of it." And it was just from watching it.
Thank God.
And if they didn't have people on that staff that were that attentive and that good at their job, he might not be here.
No kidding.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the Bills medical staff and their training that they've received and how quickly they jumped into action. And that deserves some credit here too, Kristen, I think, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you guys had a chance to listen to the conference with the doctors that have been treating him. But one of the things that they said, there was a reporter that specifically asked them, he said something along the lines of, we know that the medical staff were, the first responders were our absolute heroes. But they said going a step further than that. Do you think if they wouldn't have been so quick, if it had been another, few minutes, even few seconds, that we would have had a much different outcome here? Do you think that's fair to say? And the doctors responded and said, yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Wow.
So that, the first responders, the medical staff, this young man that we're hearing of, and his name is Kenny. I'm blanking on his last name right now, but he was the one that was, he was the assistant athletic trainer that was doing the CPR on Damar. We have some real true heroes, and we're just lucky and thankful and grateful that they knew and identified it so quickly.
Denny Kellington, is it?
Yeah.
Denny Kellington is his name.
Or Kenny. I know his first name is Kenny.
It's Denny Kellington.
Kellington. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
very cool
that
story.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
So
it's
cool.
Fascinating. Like all the little things that are coming up. So it's all uphill from here, God willing. Even I don't necessarily believe in God, but whatever, whatever. Here you go. Or people willing.
Yeah. Namaste.
Namaste. But listen, Kristen, I want to thank you for spending some time with us. At Bills Mafia Babes, give them a follow. Follow Kristen. She is a breath of fresh air.
I have a quick question.
Let me get through this though.
Yeah.
First, and we'll get there.
I thought we were saying bye. That's all.
Yeah, we're gonna in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, because she's got to go. She's got a flooded basement, flooded
All
3
right.
times this week.
Yeah.
She needs to fucking clean it out. But follow Kristen at Bills Mafia Babes, at Kimmick 86 as well. You're going to the game this weekend, correct? Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I can't. Yeah, I want a full report about your emotions. That's what I want. I want to hear about your emotions. Go ahead, bud. Go ahead.
I just want to know, Bills Mafia Babes, what kind of roster is that? Like how many strong? How many members are part of your mafia?
All right, let me give you the little spiel on this because it's worth saying. So, like Bills Mafia Babes, where it originated was that 6 years ago, I just got kind of annoyed with being judged for being a female fan. Right? I grew up with a single dad. I grew up in garages watching football. Like I can talk the game.
Yeah.
There's always kind of like that automatic look at a female fan, and I just got annoyed with that. So I just made like a locked Facebook group because I needed a break from like social media toxicity. So I made a Facebook group. I threw like 25 women in it. I was like, this is where I'm talking football for, I don't know, maybe ever. And over time, the women started adding other women to this group, and it's only women. So we've got, I think we're at like 26,500 women in this.
Wow.
Yeah. All female Bills fans. And then a few years ago, because, obviously we just talked about it. Bills Mafia and charity go together kind of like peanut butter and jelly. Like it just is what we are. So a few years ago, we just kept getting women doing GoFundMes to help each other and help the community and doing all these things and, trying to put together get-togethers. So to go out and volunteer in the community. So we said, hey, you know what? We're going to actually establish like a 501c3 governmental nonprofit organization called the Mafia Babes. And now we can do things legitimately and make sure that they're official and being done right. So we actually have a nonprofit that's part of this that allows us to, every month we work with a different one of our players. So we'll reach out, we'll speak with, the player's brand manager, agent, find out exactly what, if they have their own foundation or if they're passionate about a specific organization. And then for a month, we just highlight that. We're trying to do fundraisers, raffles, drives. We'll have, mafia get-togethers, that are ticketed. And then the proceeds from those tickets go to the foundation. And we just try and raise them up, as much money as we can and really highlight those. So we're trying to bring that community in. And we've got 26,000 women that want to do good things. So we make sure that we give them the opportunity to do so. So that's a little bit of
you.
That's
Crazy
incredible.
Shit.
Yeah,
That's so
I
wild.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
And what are you doing? What are you doing next? What can we help you with? Are you anything you want to tell us about that we can promote? We can talk about.
Yeah. So this month we're actually working with Tyrell Dodson. He just established a foundation, and we actually haven't announced that yet. We were kind of waiting on bated breath to really know about Damar before we turned, and started speaking on other matters that were, So Tyrell is actually working this month for a kind of an initiative to provide assistance to the victims of the blizzard, the cleanup of the blizzard, things like that. So we just partnered with him. We're looking into building events, this month to try and bring in some additional funding to boost that for him, to be able to help the community even more. Like I just mentioned, raffles, maybe some public events, things like that. And then we're also going to be doing some additional side projects in addition to that monthly initiative that we're working on with him, that, things to push, resources and knowledge about being, CPR and AED in honor of Damar. We're going to continue, pushing the GoFundMe for the family that, just lost those 5 children in the fire. And we're going to keep working to, just try and make Buffalo heal,
That's wild.
At Kimmick86, give her a follow and hit her up for any questions you have about how you can help donate to any of their initiatives with the Bills Mafia Babes. And hopefully you'll come back, Kristen. I know you got to go, but hopefully you'll come back. As long
We're
as
going to do a contest where we give away a
douchebags.
chance for somebody to go to Buffalo to go to a game with you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You and your girlfriends. We'll give it away on
Perfect.
the podcast network.
And we'll make sure it's not some loser too. That's what we'll do. We'll bet the person.
I'll send
Well,
them
then I'm out.
And I'm sending Justin Bieber back to you guys too. I'm going to put them both in the same vehicle and send them back to Canada.
We don't want him, and we want to send you Drake. I'll trade.
Yeah, you can have Drake.
You can't give it back. You can't give it back.
Kristen, great to see you. Great news about Damar. Go Bills by $1 billion this weekend against Mac Jones, that douchebag, and the stupid fucking Patriots. But thank you for doing this, Kristen, and all the best to you and your cleanup with your basement. I know you got to go, but thanks for doing this. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.
All right. Anytime.
Thanks,
Take
Kristen.
care, Kristen Kimmick, founder and boss woman.
Yeah.
Over at
Presidente.
Bills Mafia Babes.
That's hilarious.
That's
Good for
wild.
her, right? Yeah, it's
huge.
a fan base unlike any other.
26,000 members just in the women's fan group. Like, that's wild. What a wow.
That's a bully number is what that is. You can start getting stuff
It's
done.
interesting
Yeah.
though. We've all cheered for teams and we've all known fan bases and things like that. That fan base is, Dean wasn't, we're not over exaggerating. It's a different fan base.
Yeah.
It really is. It really
Dude,
is.
I don't even think it's a fan base. Like I said to her, and I mean this, it's a culture.
Yeah.
It borders
Yeah.
on religion
Yes.
to the people of Buffalo. And part of that religion is take care of your neighbors. And it affects the whole city, right? Like it's this vibe. It's like magic pixie dust. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, it's tangible though, so it's like a real thing rather than religion, right? And if you haven't been to a tailgate in Buffalo, you have not ever been to a tailgate. Those are the best parties you will ever attend in the
That's
NFL.
what I gotta do.
Dude,
If I gotta
two.
go to a game.
I've been to one.
You got to come out here next year.
Yeah.
We'll get tickets to go to a game. I've been to 2. We'll touch base with Kristen. We'll get the tour. But I've seen public intercourse. I've seen guys just crouch next to their car and take a shit. I've seen someone take a shit in the stadium at their seat. I have seen guys fight and then hug at the end of the fight, bleeding. And I've seen guys give each other beers, drink them, put them back in their drink, and then switch them again. I've seen it all. I have seen it all, and I've been to 2 games. But it's a weird, like I said, it's not fan. It's fucking culture. It's bizarre. But I love it. I love it because it gives you something to go, oh, the world isn't that shitty, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
As you pointed out, Loc. Like this whole thing really brought everybody together. Didn't matter what your ideologies were, and it's fucking awesome.
It really did. I found out about the GoFundMe thing, I think, on Monday on this podcast. And then I started following that as well. And every time I saw an update, I'm like, holy shit, it's up another $1 million. This is such a good story and such a good feel-good story. And it just came at such an interesting time, in my opinion. And again, like I said, I didn't want to take away what's happening in Buffalo. I didn't want to take away how Buffalo fans are, that this is happening to them. But it was just a very cool story, how he's coming out of it and how people are rallying behind this 24-year-old kid who to every account, everyone's just going, he's just lit up a room, just the nicest guy, great laugh, good sense of humor, like great team
humble
guy.
Apparently like super humble family
wants
guy,
to give back, like
good human being. Yeah.
Shit, I hope he can play again. I really do.
They said, I was listening to the press conference. If you watch, it was like a 50-minute press conference with the doctors at University of Cincinnati Healthcare Center. And they're saying the goal is to get him to where he was at 8 p.m. on Monday, kickoff. That's the goal. And he apparently, as they also said, all the lights are on. No reason why he can't. Just depends on his recovery, right? And the current condition of his heart. Did it suffer any irreversible damage? All that kind of stuff. Is it going to be a problem for him to go back? And then coming up with a cause. They're investigating that right now too. So
this isn't necessarily.
The general
if it
thinking is it was the hit that just kind of reset his heart, and that was what had started the whole thing.
And that isn't necessarily like a degenerative disease that just all of a sudden he it caught up with him. So you would suggest, and the guys that this has happened to in hockey came back from it.
Remember Chris Pronger?
Yeah,
Chris Pronger had the same thing happen to him.
Yeah. And I remember watching that game. I remember watching Chris Pronger. In fact, I got the video here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's not just Chris Pronger. There have been, I've seen this happen several times in the NHL.
I didn't see. This is Dallas. There was a Dallas Star.
Yeah, there's a Dallas Stars one. Can't remember the guy's name. He retired immediately after. And then there was another guy.
He was
Detroit,
a little older though. Like he was sort of at the end of his career when it happened to him.
Yeah, and it might have been a heart arrhythmia. A bunch of different reasons. I mean, your heart is a wild organ, right? Like it genetics, whether you're predisposed. My brother called me this year. He's like, "Hey guys, you got to go get checked. I found out I got high blood pressure." And all he does is like he eats the cleanest out of everybody I've ever met in my life. It's genetic, right? Like it's one of those things that you got to stay up on. You got to figure out. But this was some kind of blunt force. That's the thinking that most doctors have kind of settled on over the past little bit. But the video, Chris Pronger, that I remember when this happened because I was watching the game.
I remember the highlights.
Yeah.
I didn't see the game.
And it bothered me. This is the actual video. Watch this.
Hands it across. Big drive. And that one blocked and into the equipment of Jeff Courtnall. And another penalty coming up.
And Detroit's going to have a two-man advantage for 10 seconds. Pronger could be hurting here, guys. He took the slap shot into the chest. This isn't funny. There's a problem here. He took the slap shot into the chest. The trainer's out there quickly, and you can see with that slap shot into his ribs and chest, he's having some problems. And here comes John Wharton from the Detroit bench. Just very serious. And then he moved out, and he took a slap shot really high off the chest. Here, right here. Here it comes. Boom, yeah. The left side of his chest near his heart. You can see he's breathing there, and it looks like he's gotten a lot of attention immediately from both teams. And I couldn't be happier for the amount of attention that Pronger got from the training staff of both teams and the doctors of both teams.
There you go.
Wild.
That's interesting too with Damar Hamlin story too, right? Was both benches, right? Boom, right away. I watched after the fact because my daughter was like, "There's something happening with the Buffalo Bills," because we had just finished watching the game, the World Juniors game, and we were walking downstairs, and she's like, "Twitter's blowing up," and so I went on Twitter, and then I went upstairs and watched like the hour of them, talking about it, and I remember being. The thing that I remember it being different for me was the players and how they were interacting, right? Like the two teams. It wasn't like, hey, we got to get going again here, right?
Yeah, I think you missed the beginning of the interview with Kristen. She actually said that where it was like the colors kind of bled together. It was really, really neat to see. There was no like all bets are off when that happens, right? Like
that's the first thing that I noticed too. Did you guys pick up on that? Like both teams were like just sort of hanging out together, and it was like, oh, okay, this is different.
Yeah,
this kid's really fucking in trouble here.
And all good news today. I mean, that's the great part. I mean, we can parse it and talk about it, but all good news today for a guy like Damar. And when you hear the stories about how good of a human being he is. Makes you even happier.
No kidding.
For him, his family. Like, that's really the most important thing. Real quick. So Monday night before the game. Now, this is going to seem petty.
That's okay. We'll allow.
I know. So Monday
you
night
go
before
there
the game.
every once in a while. We're kind of used to it.
Okay, thanks, buddy. I order a cut. Can I get some story music here, please?
Yeah, we sure
Thank
can.
you very much.
I'm going to get a beer.
Little story
This
music.
feels like
That's
I need a
Friday.
beer.
I don't see why you don't. You just finished yoga. Let's get drunk. Thank you. That's
welcome.
really lovely, lovely story music. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So Monday, I order a pizza. Actually, two. $21.99. You get 2 pizzas, 2 toppings for delivery. I order the pizza online. Young gentleman comes, delivers the pizza. I look at the actual receipt, shows it to me. There's a $7 delivery charge. And I go, okay, so it's like half the price of the pizza almost. I'm like, okay, so like it's a 40% tip? And he goes, oh, no, that's not the tip. And I'm like, well, what is it? He goes, it's a delivery charge. I go, well, who gets it? He goes, me. And I'm like, so it's a tip. And he's like, no, it's a delivery charge. He says it right on the receipt. And I'm like, so I don't have to tip you, though? And he goes, no, you do. And I go, I don't think so.
He said, yes, you do.
I said, I don't think so.
I don't
think the
see
delivery
any
charge-
pettiness here. I
No.
don't see any. Let us know when you get to the pettiness.
Yeah, just in case we miss it. We don't want to miss it.
Yeah, because sometimes pettiness like this gets past me.
This guy,
Yeah.
I go out onto the step and I continue this conversation for 15 minutes. 15 minutes, I'm talking to this guy about what the
Now you're
fuck is
costing
delivery
him
charge
money.
and who
That's
gets
what I
it.
like.
Well, then
his
he gets
pizza's
angry,
cold.
and he's like, you don't have to tip me. I go, oh, I'm going to tip you, all right. I'm also going to pay the delivery fee, and I'll never fucking order from you guys again. And he goes, no problem. Everybody's got the same delivery fee. I'm like, what? What? So that starts this conversation because I start looking around online and I start Googling. I'm like, what do you tip for takeout? What do you tip for delivery? Like, if they're delivery fees, you know, because I want to know. I don't want to be one of those old dicks
See it in Alberta.
that shows up, grabs his takeout, doesn't tip, and then has the person go, next time that fucking loser comes in here, I'm going to put a pube in his fucking pad thai.
Is
Like,
Primavera.
that's not what I want, right? And so I there's no answer. It's my point. This is one of the raging conversations in the post-pandemic era, even though we're still in the pandemic. It's because of all the delivery and the lockdowns. Everybody's like, so no one eats out anymore, really?
Save the restaurants in the beginning, yeah.
Is restaurants feel like, oh, you know what? We suffered a lot. Let's include 20, 30, 40% as a tip option on the actual debit machine.
Yeah.
Not 10.
Sometimes
not
there
5.
isn't even 15.
No. They go
Like
right
sometimes
to 18
it's
and a
like
half.
18, 20, and 20.
Yeah.
20, yeah.
So I look at a couple things like Doug Aoki.
I got comments.
This is his
I got
tweet.
comments.
Well, I want to get to him. He says, asking for your insight. Before the pandemic, I tipped 20% at restaurants, but usually nothing for takeout. We don't dine in restaurants, and now we do a lot more takeout. Given servers maybe seeing fewer customers, I feel like we should tip. How much do you think is appropriate for takeout? Nothing. Nothing. Zero. Here's another reason why. Ad tie that used to cost me $11 now costs me $20. That's why I don't tip, and that's in 2 years. Like, it's a double in price, and I know that they pay more for ingredients, all that other stuff. But
Okay, we're encroaching
I
on
don't want to be
petty
an asshole.
territory, just so you
Yeah,
know.
I know.
Sometimes it does get past me. Sometimes you could slip it past the goalie. Now,
So what do you do? Because
Okay.
I want to know. I want to know how we do this. A lot of people, my boy Millsy, he's like, how much do you tip, if at all, for takeout orders? To clarify, this is a good order. You called in, placed online, drove to, got your vehicle to pick up the restaurant. Most people said, I don't tip takeout. What are we doing with takeout? Let's start there.
Okay, first off, I think we need to have more conversations like this to get everybody on board.
Yeah, I do too.
Because
We're having it.
And I know you're starting with the takeout, but I want to just make sure that this gets out right away before we get carried away and I forget to mention this. I felt a little pressure during the pandemic to go out and actually, once things opened up again, post-pandemic, and everyone was like, oh man, the restaurant industry took it in the hoop. And I was like, okay, oh shit, we'll go out. So the wife and I, we made an attempt to go out at least once a week. And then there was the conversation, well, you know what, everyone, they really had a hard time. 15 isn't the common thing anymore. It should be 18%. So I was like, for fuck's sakes. Okay. And I'm a cheap prick. Like, I'll admit it. I grew up poor. And I sweat. If I go to Vegas, I won't gamble. But somebody made me gamble one time and I lost $20 in about 13 minutes. It ruined my whole trip. Like that
$20 in 13 minutes, huh?
13 minutes. We put it in some fucking machine and pulled the
high
lever
roller.
Times and they went, because they were like, you have to gamble. We're in Vegas. We're not going out unless you gamble. And I'm like,
you just did slots? You didn't play blackjack? You didn't do
I don't know
cards?
what it was. It was a big machine with a lever on it.
Slot.
I put a fucking $20 fucking bill in and it was gone. And I'm like, well, that was fun. Excellent. And I didn't even get a free fucking drink. Anyway. So I thought about that $20 that whole trip.
I bet you did.
Weekend. I kept bringing it up to the assholes we went down with too. So anyway, here's the thing about the 15% versus the 18%. I think we should go back, and I'm okay having this conversation now because listen, people are going out more. The cost has gone through the roof, and I think we should have the conversation about 15%. Instead of the 18, let's get it back to 15. Now, I don't think we're going to come to any kind of a common ground on takeout, though. Like, it's
got to be zero. You can't tip when no one brings you your food. You're getting in your car. You're doing the work of going to get it. They don't even.
Okay,
have to
no. I thought you were talking about. So, do you tip the delivery guy though?
Well, here's that problem. So I'm with you on not tipping on takeout. We're the same. Don't tip on takeout ever.
No. Hold on. I think you should tip 10% on takeout because the staff that are putting the meals together and working, they get that money, and 10% on a $20 or $25 couple of salads or something like that isn't a lot of money.
Yeah, but they're not making server wages.
Paid.
They're making normal wages. It's not like a server relying on like servers rely on tips because their wages are systemically lower. A cook is making a normal.
They've chosen to do that
and
job.
Bartenders make a killing compared to people behind a counter prepping food.
Yeah,
like a lot of the takeout stuff, it's those tips go to the guys that are preparing the food. So I kind of feel like a 10% throw them.
Okay, so you're 10% takeout. I'm
takeout,
0.
if you're
Linz,
picking it up.
You? What are you?
I'd say mostly 0, but if it's like a family deal, something like a really like mom and pop kind of place, then maybe I'll feel a little more inclined to. But I just don't.
What do you tip when you sit down? You sit down for a meal. You're having
sit down meal is 20. It depends on the service, but usually 20%.
And it has to be service. Exactly. It's got to be service related. Tips is actually, I don't know if you guys know this. Tips stands for to ensure promptness.
Yeah.
And usually you would tip before back in the day. Now we tip at the end because we got smarter. We're like, I'm not giving this guy money ahead of time. Yeah. He's going to fuck me over. He's going to bring me some kind of pube sandwich.
20's a steep, man.
Well, what do you?
$20 on 100.
Have you ever been in a group setting of more than like 10 people at a table? They mandatory in Ontario. A lot of places will mandatorily put in a tip on your bill. It'll be billed in. Yeah. You can't choose to not tip.
Yeah, and you not only that, they'll choose the percentage for you if you've got a big group. So
I think it needs, that's why we need to have this conversation and get it back down to 15. You're part of the problem here, Linz.
Let's get to 20%. That's right.
I'm saying that's for good service. Like that's for good service. Like if it's just mediocre, you know what? She just barely looked up from her cell phone while she was taking my order. Yeah, you're getting 15. But you know what? If you're
15 for being a bad server.
Not a bad server, just a normal server. If it's just normal service.
Loc, you don't have to have a problem with it. All I'm doing is trying to figure out everybody's median. Yeah, you're getting so pissed.
I'm fucking angry.
Okay, let's talk about this the delivery stuff. Can we talk about the delivery stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. We're between 0 and 5%, 0 and 10% for takeout. We're between 15 and 20% for dine-in. Delivery with the delivery charge because they all do it now. All of them do it.
I did not know that. I did not know that. Is that that's starting to happen in Alberta? We saw it on a bill. I tipped this dick. He came to the door with Chinese food about a month ago.
What do you do?
And it was a $5 or $6 or something delivery charge, and I didn't notice it, and I gave him it was $50. I gave him $5.
Yeah,
I gave him
So you gave him
10% when he came to the door. So we ended up tipping the guy
$10, $11.
Yeah, $10 for $50 worth of Chinese food. It was just over $50.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Nobody
says anything about the fucking but here's the thing. Nobody says anything about the delivery charge. And I actually had to question the guy. And do I have $7? Yes, I have $7. It's not the $7. It's the
principle.
Reorientation of how we fucking tip. Because they change the rules. Because they can, right? So everybody's like locked in your house. You're like, oh, now there's a $7 delivery charge. What the fuck are you talking about? Where's this come from? The guy's like, it's just a company thing. I'm like, well, who does it go to? Me. Well, that's your tip. It's a $20 bill, $7 delivery charge. That's a fucking huge tip, dude.
That's a tip.
That's a massive tip.
And
he's like, no, you also have to tip me on top of that. And I'm like, I don't have to do shit. I don't have to do anything I want to.
Do you know how much?
I started feeling like a fucking old asshole. I started sitting there. I'm on my porch, and I'm like, there you go. You're turning into Lachlan. That's nice.
Do you know how much they tip in Europe?
Everyone's going to be me.
Zero.
There is zero tipping in Europe because the people are paid a fair wage. And what they're doing with these stupid fucking delivery charges is they're relying on the Uber method of things. And this goes with everywhere. And they're relying on you to pay that guy's wage now, rather than the restaurant paying a driver. They're just gonna charge it back to you. So, yeah, it's unfair for him, but it's also unfair for the customer to have to deal with that. I think
that Chinese food delivery is one of 2 times we had delivery in the last 2 years. Though we always go get it.
Yeah, I do too, because I'm like, I do. I'm no longer doing that. That's what it's come down to. Because of all the delivery, like the delivery this, delivery that. Although I do get like my groceries brought to me because I get free delivery for that. I'm like, I'll sign up if it's free delivery. So I was like, oh, fuck, bring me the groceries. But yeah, so that's it. I guess we're just not tipping
into that. Who do you get the grocery? Is it Superstore? Do you have Superstore?
No, I get them from a couple of mom and pops places, Karma Farms, Niku Farms. I don't buy any.
Grant does that. Grant has his groceries delivered to him, and I'm like,
you
really?
betcha.
Is it like, does that cost
Cheaper.
more? And he's like, no.
It's actually cheaper if you go straight to the farms. Yeah,
a
bunch of bodegas that have it too, like farm bodegas that they'll sell you anything from like.
Sobeys has a service called Voila here in Ontario that does it. It's door to door. Yeah,
there you go. Huh. There you go. Some videos that I wanted to get to today too before we go. This one specifically bothered me. Really bothered me. Well, I don't know if it bothered me as much as I think it bothered a lot of other people that watched it.
Stella, that's good beer.
I made beer and cheddar soup today, and I had leftovers, so that's what I'm drinking today.
Attaboy. What do you make of this guy in a mask, sticking his hand down the back of his pants, picking his asshole, and then giving it a whiff? What do you make of this? There he goes. Mask comes down, gives it a smell. Ooh, that's nice. What do we make of that?
Is that a head injury though? Like, I mean, there's more there.
What do we make of this guy? What are we making of him? Look at his face at the end of this. Ooh, that's nice. And then he goes to sleep. What's he doing? Oh, I know what he's doing. He's picking his ass and then having a whiff because he likes the smell.
Well,
and if you notice at the end of it, Lynn's brought it up too. If you notice at the end of it, he does one of these. He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he's like. He's touching his mask. That's not good.
Is he deciding that's just another reason why I don't think in the week for shower? Like maybe he has this sniff test to see. Okay,
sniff, hooray!
It has been 3 days. I'll maybe put some water on this.
That's gamey. I need some talcum.
That's gamey. Ooh, I respect the move though. I mean, it's disgusting, and you'll never be able to. It is. It's but he's basically sniffing butt hash.
Yeah,
but
he looks like he's going to be single.
Can I? He probably is. But can I just point out a guy that's willing to do this on public transit in full view of everybody?
Yeah.
He's kind of heroic, isn't he? Like this is a guy who clearly doesn't
Heroic
give a
would not be the term I would use to describe this.
Well, that is a Captain America skull cap, isn't it?
Look, this it's kind of heroic.
Ooh. And then just drifts off nice and like peacefully into a slumber.
There's
after finding out.
There's a faction of the population that has a fascination with things that their bodies do, right? Like I remember I've seen a couple of times where I've seen people like pick shit out of their ear and eat it, or
oh, come on.
and or their nose or a scab and eat. Like there's this, I don't know what that is, but I think that's a thing.
It's called, I'll tell you what it's called. It's called olfactory reference disorder.
Okay.
And there are people, you ever see that show My Strange Addiction on TLC?
Yeah, people eating their couches and stuff.
Yeah, and addicted to can't leave the house because they have to smell their farts, and they eat cushions and they put gas in their eye and drink their urine, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a fucking great show. It really is.
It really is.
You watch it, you're like, man, I'm doing pretty good.
If you're feeling like shit about yourself, watch that show.
Yeah, this is one of those things. Yeah, watch. If you go, am I weird? Watch My Strange Addiction. You're not weird. But this is one of those addictions. It's called olfactory reference disorder. It's characterized by distressing or impairing belief of a person that they may emit a foul odor, and they become addicted to always checking to see if they smell. And people do it in I was just reading, their navels. They do it with that navel lint. They do it with their assholes. They do it with their taints. They do it with like smells from behind their ears. There are people who get endorphin rushes from smelling their own dump. And I'm not kidding you. Like that is the kind of stuff where it's like literally, it's not even addiction, it's a disorder is what it is. My Strange Disorder. That's what this guy's doing. He's like, well, look at how excited he is at the end of his, like him pulling his mask down to protect him from like COVID, to smell his own shit. Like, look at it.
You got to rush from this.
Yeah, look at it. He fucking totally dug it. He's like, watch this. Ooh, at the end of it. Oh, yeah.
And it kind of put him to sleep.
Yeah. Well, he couldn't sleep without knowing. Yeah.
How my asshole smells right now.
I heard a guy one time on a podcast, and I won't mention his name, but he talked about picking his nose and eating it and getting caught doing it, and he was almost, it wasn't embarrassed at all. He was like, yeah, you guys don't do that.
That was on a Rogan podcast, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I know the one. I heard this too.
What was
he wasn't kidding.
Yeah, like he would do like a hockey snot into his hand
and eat it.
He would fucking slurp it up, and he was proud of the fact that he was doing that. And I remember where I was when I heard this. I was driving, and I was ready to pull over because I was fucking gagging listening to him explain it.
Bert, well, since you heard it, I'm not telling tales out of school. Bert Kreischer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does some disgusting things. He's a bit off, right? Yeah. Fucking funny dude. I want to go.
I'm guessing it was a bit. It had to have been a bit, right?
Yeah, like, there's no way.
I don't think it was a bit, honestly.
But I think on that podcast they'll admit to doing the dumbest shit. Like there was that one episode, and it might have been the same episode actually, where Rogan was like, "Yeah, I can suck my own dick." Remember that episode?
That's
like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he was talking about.
Yeah. Which is, again, there are things that, and I don't have any weird predilections, thank God. Like I'm not addicted to anything other than vaping. I don't like eating snot. I don't like the smell of my orifices. I'm not one of those guys. No, it's true. I really don't. I don't like any of those things. But if I did, I would never share that information with anybody. Like if I could suck my own dick, I would never tell anybody that I could or that I tried. Chad Kroger from Nickelback ruined his whole fucking career. Did you remember that?
I would try.
No, me neither. Because
I don't want my dick in my mouth. I really don't.
Yeah. It's because that's the thing. Like you get all worked up, right?
Can you clip that for the next promo?
Yeah, you know it.
Thanks, bud. Some out of context stuff. That'd be great.
Like you get yourself all worked.
Dick in my own mouth.
You get yourself all worked up, and you're ready to go, and then now you got to suck a dick. It's like what?
no,
Guess I'm not so worked up anymore.
I don't want to suck anybody else's dick. I don't want to put my own in my mouth. I really don't. Listen, if that's something you're okay with, I'm actually shocked women do it. Like,
Same.
It's happened to me the odd time, and I always have the same thought. I'm like, you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
Like,
you want to sign this, please?
Always, and my buddy's like, when I met my wife, she told me she wasn't into that, and I'm like, of course. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, would you? And he's like, no. And I'm like, even if you're a woman, nobody would. It's disgusting. I like any woman that chooses to do that with her significant other deserves all the awards. We're disgusting individuals.
Just roll them out. Just
keep
rolling
which
them
award do you want? Anyway, just I'm glad we got through that. I wanted to kind of go over that. Another video that I wanted to go ahead.
Like, so when you so does this mean like when you're taking a dump, you're
we were ready to move on, Linz.
I want to clarify it before we go. I think we left something out on the table here because everybody likes to smell their own.
No, I don't think we did. I think you just want to keep on about
that first poop thing, that first poop smell. And yeah, you don't want to go back into it. You don't want to wallow in it. But aren't you interested in what your poop smells like?
Generally speaking, not so much. It's not at the top of my list.
Smell. No. I want to take a look at it.
Just me?
Yeah, I think it's just you. I think it's just you. We're not disgusted by our own brand.
Yeah,
but no, I'm not interested in the odor at all. I'm interested in
I wonder what this is going to smell like.
Yeah, I'm interested in what's happening because that thing snakes its way through my whole body. So I just want to make sure I'm healthy. So I'll have a peek. And I think the older you get, the longer you look at your stuff. But generally speaking, I'm not in there to make friends with it.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not saying become intimately aware of what's coming out of your asshole because it's I'm just saying, that smells normal. That smells really bad. What's wrong with me? I
will say this. I had a shit this morning during Blondie Call Me, and it's only 3 minutes and 20 seconds long, so I had to hurry. And I was regretting not having a longer song because I saw something in that toilet that looked a little prehistoric. And it looked like it could have either been something that developed in the sea or in land.
Maybe it crawled up through the pipe.
Those ones where you walk out and you're like, honey, I don't remember eating any of that, and I think I need to go to the hospital.
It looked a little like it was trying to fly, too. So it had wings. And I'm pretty sure if I would have just left it, that it would have developed into a creature that took flight.
And you wanted to move on.
With corn eyes.
Yeah, and it just fell out of me too. Like it was awful.
Hey, speaking of shit, have you guys been watching Jordan Peterson lose his fucking mind on Twitter over the past day?
Oh my god.
It's so awesome. He's gonna lose his license. He's snapping. He's fucking losing it. This is him showing up for the hearing. He looks real happy. He's actually at the hearing, by the way. That's him.
Oh my
god. A fucking lunatic.
Somebody get him a sandwich.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying.
And a Taylor.
Dude's such a fucking tool. So anyway,
he's back on something, eh?
Oh, yeah, he's got to be. Yeah, he's got to be fucked. I think he's on.
That's not the look.
This
of a
isn't
man
normal behavior.
That has 3 squares.
No. So over the past, I would say 2 days, he's been raging on Twitter. Like, I mean, raging.
You
and what he's
son of a bitch.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Calling people sons of bitches, telling the fucking Ontario College of Psychologists to go fuck themselves. He's above them. They should do one of the great things. He's like, you guys should all quit.
Let me know how that goes, Jordan.
That's an alpha move right there.
I have had that thought. I am not going to lie.
Like, I said that when I was like 6, though. Like when someone's like,
my psyche,
you got to do this, and I'm like, you do it. That's like, fuck, dude. That's like the 6-year-old response to everything.
I know you are, but what am I?
Like the people who can take away his ability to work, and they're like, hey, can you come in for an interview? And he's like, how about you go fuck yourself? And they're like, you're not supposed to be doing this out loud. There's supposed to be a private proceeding. And he's like, you know how private it is? I'm going to post everything online. So he did, and we got a chance to look at it. These are some of the complaints that Jordan Peterson had. This is a complaint form from the College of Psychologists of Ontario. This is one of the complaints. There were dozens. Mr. Peterson engaged in hate speech towards a transgender person in a public forum. Remember the old, why are you cutting off Ellen Page's breasts, you terrible fucking woke moralist? Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that whole thing? Anyway, brings disrepute to psychologists, causes direct harm to minorities. I'm a psychologist in Australia. These fucking complaints came from around the world. And we have clear rules about being registered psychologists, being deregistered should they bring any disrepute to psychologists and are engaged in discrimination, hate speech. I am appalled that he remains registered health professional when he is causing direct harm to minorities who have an increased rate of suicide and self-harm. It is time the organization deregisters him for his discriminatory behavior. That wasn't the only one. Like I said, there were dozens.
Oh, wow.
This is another one where he was making fun of the lady from Sports Illustrated, saying she was unattractive. Do you remember that? They were kind enough, too, to include all the tweets that, and these are several of them. I'm not going to show them all to you because it's like too much time.
What is this? What who's documenting this? These complaints?
The Ontario College of Psychology,
because
the
they
College
have to make
of
they have to make the complaints public.
Well, these are people who've complained, and these are the references of what they're complaining about, right? So one of the references was
so this
Jordan
is exactly
Peterson.
like the CBSC for broadcasting.
Exactly. Yeah, like it's a governing body. It's in every organization, every industry, every big industry in this country has them, and these people are charged with people's mental health. So you're accountable in a big way. Part of it is, and it was interesting because I talked to a psychologist friend of mine, and he's like, the Hippocratic Oath has to be signed by every medical health professional, whether it's emotional, mental, physical, whatever. If you're a health professional, you got to sign it. And it means you're not going to do any harm. You're not going to disparage people. You're not going to hurt their mental health. So let's have a look at this tweet. Jordan Peterson, it was about Yumi News shaking over the SI swimsuit cover. It was a plus-size model named Yumi News. She was one of the plus-size models who graced the cover of Sports Illustrated in 2022. Peterson, of course, that famous tweet, sorry, not beautiful. No amount of authoritarian tolerance is going to change that. That is a fucking no-no.
Like, what an idiot.
Yeah,
like,
can't do it.
I get the sense, too, that a lot of times I just sort of thought the beginning of this whole thing with him was he was just trying to get attention. And I still think there's an element of that. Like, I still think that this whole thing, him presenting, his fight with the board online and being so vocal about it, even though he knows how this is going to end, I don't think he's that insane, is an attempt to actually sell tickets and make money. But at the end of the day, you got, like, people are wired different. We just watched a video of a guy that's okay reaching into his own ass and smelling his hand. Okay, there's lots of different types of people out there. People are attracted to different things. Everybody is, and there's nothing wrong. Well, there's something wrong with that. Something that somebody else isn't attracted to, right? Like, we all have our thing that gets our rocks off. So why are you somehow why have you appointed yourself the person that decides that's not attractive?
And that's the rub.
Population.
But dude, you just nailed
girls.
it. You just nailed it.
Or big guys.
You just nailed it.
Off.
Why would you bother hurting somebody? You're not supposed to hurt people. If you're you're not supposed to hurt people in general, but that is basically what social media is. How can we hurt other people for our own benefit, of our own gain? Yeah. And to your point, he is doing this for clout. He is doing this for his base. He is doing all of this too because he believes these things, right? And it's fucking fascinating to me that Jordan Peterson would call Yumi New not beautiful when he's married to fucking Vlad the Impaler.
You absolute son of a bitch.
You're welcome. This is somehow not beautiful. Yet objectively, this is.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with her. She's just
perfectly
in a difficult situation.
Jordan, you know perfectly well. That's what he says all the time. Everybody knows perfectly well. Anyway, he's going to lose his license. I talked to somebody today. I made a series of phone calls, did some research, had a couple off-the-record conversations, and Jordan Peterson is in deep trouble. This is the one that psychologists are really pissed about. Where he chose to take his religious ideology and then be transphobic and basically a hateful cock. Or as Lachlan says, cock. Remember when pride was a sin, he says, and Ellen Page had her breasts removed by a criminal physician going after the trans community? Not something the psychologists organization here in this country are like, yeah, that's a good thing to do if you're a professional psychologist representing this board.
And you know where you get the parallels, like we saw with the Dana White video this week and the comments that came in. It's that binary attitude of they think that you're trying to police somebody's speech by saying that you're not allowed to say that about that person, right? So we have hate speech, but we also, and he's saying that for some reason he's being censored and everybody's being censored because people are calling people fat or people are making fun of trans people or whatever. And what may not constitute a hate crime, he's looking at it in that binary, you can't tell me what to think or say, which for somebody that's held in such high regard by his base as being an intellectualist, have you ever met an intellectualist that thinks in a binary way like he does? No. No.
I see what you're doing there. Yeah.
He just doesn't, he's trying to make it so black and white where there's no nuance in that discussion. If you want to have that discussion, that's fine. And I think his anger was pointed towards the then owners of Twitter who banned him from Twitter for saying bullshit like that. Yeah. But that's a private entity. Take it up. Call the manager, Karen. Don't try and make an entire fucking movement out of this. Like
call the manager, Karen.
Yeah.
You know what I started to do, because I'm 52. I'm just about to turn 53, and there have been some things that have happened in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years where I'm like, right, okay, all right. Listen, I don't care, but you need to explain this to, and we've done it on this podcast too, but it's interesting because what I started to do when my daughters started to become more than just teenagers, more than just obsessed with music and social media and boys, and like I would sit and I would throw something out at them and just go, okay, how do you negotiate this? Because my mind works this way, right? Like, and when I see this stuff, I need to sit back and I need to digest it so that I can come out the other end with a politically correct, if you will, way of viewing it. Because the way I grew up in locker rooms in the 80s, it's difficult for me sometimes to go, okay, hold on, where are we at now? Like, okay, I'm just being honest. And so I have a viewpoint that is different from my daughters. So to get them to go, no, Dad, this is how these things work, because they grew up very differently than I did, like wildly different. Mm-hmm. It was not uncommon for my daughters to be referring to somebody that started out as one gender that went to another gender in high school. And I never, this is all brand new to me, right? Like, and it is normal. It's normal to them to have gone through this, right? They've experienced this.
Same with same-sex relationships. My son was telling me that girls and boys hold hands down the hallway, and he's fucking awesome. He's like, young men and young women are always
there. That gap is not
we're gonna be saved by our kids.
That gap is not that large, by the way. My wife is 10 years younger than me, and our stories from high school when it came to right. Go Ryan. That story between, like, the gap between that 10 years, the stories from her high school experience to mine when it came to same sex.
Huge.
I had 1,700 kids in my high school, and we thought one guy was gay, maybe. that was it. Like, that's as close as we got, and nobody bugged him about it. Like, he was a nice enough guy, but we just thought it. Maybe he's gay. That was it. I hear from her. There's two. If I'm wrong, she'll correct me. But there's two people that have had sex changes from her high school of 1,000 maybe, plus all the friends that she kept that are gay, that are non-binary, that are trans. Like, we didn't have in this 10 years. You know what I mean? So the fact that we were able to open these channels of discussion, these people that have been living this way on their own in a dark corner of society being shunned, to open it up and say, come on in. I don't understand why we just can't all get to the point where just don't say something that's going to offend the person that you're talking to, you know?
Because the whole idea about, and I'll show you, the whole idea for a guy like Jordan Peterson is to keep women in a position of suffering.
Yeah.
Is to not make any trans person, gay person legitimate, because it goes against his ideology, right? He's a Russian Orthodox born again Christian. He's a fucking loser. And the whole thing is about trying to convince people that everybody's on his side. No one's on his side other than news organizations who are heavily right-leaning or fake news organizations. And he is fucking blowing it up on Twitter. Let's go through it. This is his Twitter feed. I want you to pay attention real quick, and we're just going to go through it. Pierre Poilievre does him a solid, and he puts out a video today talking about, basically saying that Jordan Peterson is being hijacked by the Ontario College of Physicians. The biggest lie.
What is going on here,
dude? It's
how
not
do you?
The Toronto Sun. The Toronto Sun jumps on it because they're owned by Chatham Asset Management, which is dark money out of the United States. Then the National Post, which is owned by the Post Media Company, which owns the Toronto Sun. So he went to each one of these individual outlets and said, I need some help here. I need you to position what's happening to me like it's a witch hunt. It ain't.
Yeah.
It's not. He is in professional jeopardy because he told people to go kill themselves on Twitter and made fun of trans people on Twitter and fucking made fun of sitting politicians and says that he's smarter than them. Dude, look at how many people. The Spectator in Australia, hard right. Daily Mail, hard right. I don't even know, like fucking firearms people, they covered it too. American Thinker, hard right think tank. U.S. Times Post, that's a fucking fake organization. The New York Post, that is owned by Rupert Murdoch. TFI Global News, that's out of India. That's a hardcore, hard right conservative Indian financial magazine. And then the Wall Street Journal, again, owned by alt-right dark money. And I don't even know what the South China Morning Post, of course. Yeah. There you go. Deep Dive. You know what Deep Dive is? Bunch of crypto bros.
Of course.
No one has. Real Clear Politics. Again, hard right. CBN. You know what CBN is? This is fucking awesome.
Christian something. You got to tell me.
Christian Broadcast Network, fellas.
Yes.
The Christian perspective on news. What is this guy? He's a born-again Christian, and if you read this, you might be able to go experience the Holy Land. You can register now, 75th Anniversary Tour.
Jesus Christ.
He's had so much help from fake news organizations, a couple of real news organizations that engage in cultural news taking. That it's
concerned about the demise of this individual. Like
he's
the linchpin, dude.
He's the step in for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is falling down. They need a fucking poster boy to carry on this fucking alt-right message. Nobody's listening to Trump anymore. Trump's losing his base. Here comes the new shiny thing, and it's fucking Jordan Peterson.
They need him. They need him.
They do.
That movement needs his followers on YouTube. That movement needs his fucking bullshit. That movement, all the guys he's connected to, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Ben Shapiro, Daily Caller, Matt Walsh, all those fucking incel losers need the king of the incels in his footprint. And so they're all helping him today. And guess what? He complained and he whined, and now he's fucking himself over. And I know for a fact Jordan Peterson is going to lose his license, and I'm going to laugh at that fucking greasy weirdo.
Honestly, man. This is coming from someone that, like everybody else, that is just working at trying to be a decent fucking human being every day, right? And I stumble and I fall constantly. Some might suggest I make mistakes daily. My wife says that. Now, number one rule, figure out who the fuck you are. I've done this before. I'm doing it again. I know it's annoying, but figure out who you are. Number two, learn to live with that person. right? Do what you need to do to figure out how to live with that guy or that girl. And then number 3, fucking stop worrying about the guy next door. Who fucking cares? Take care of yourself. If we lose that judgment piece, honestly, the more and more we lose that judgment piece, the better off we are going to be as a society. I swear to God, it'll fix
that
everything.
judgment piece comes with these cultural assholes, right? They're on the left, they're on the right. We see it all the time. Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, not at all.
Wrong about that?
No, not at all.
No, zero.
And why do we have, like, this morning we had in the news the Putin's taken 3 days off for Christmas. The Russian Orthodox Christmas or whatever.
Yeah.
Why does that make me so angry? You're killing people, but we're gonna take a couple of days off for baby Jesus. What the fuck?
It's the whole
point. Like what is like? Do you get like say it out loud?
Take a break from rape and torture so we can celebrate Jesus's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? Does anybody else?
Hopefully
can anybody
they do it all
else
in a big building
hear
again.
that out loud? Like if that is not the biggest, if that is not the most obvious thing that there is something so wrong with religion and how it impacts our communities, our lives, our politics, our everything. If you can't see that, I don't understand. Your brain isn't functioning.
Correct.
We're killing people. We're trying to invade a country that we shouldn't be invading, that doesn't want us there. Let's take a break for baby Jesus.
Yeah.
What the?
Little 7-pound, 10-ounce baby Jesus.
I don't know
what is
my
wrong with you people that you don't see that is a problem?
Religion,
like if you
stupidity, IQ points, dude. Like we're surrounded by it, and
it all comes down to it.
Fuck.
You can reduce it all back to that too. That's where it all begins. It's just ideology is different than your ideology. So I need to.
I almost had a fucking seizure because you can't shit on religion. You can't. You're not supposed to.
I do it all the time.
I know, but it's one of the rules in mainstream broadcasting. You're not supposed to. I mean, I had a Catholic boss who has since been fired, but she used to come into or she used to call me into her office once or twice every couple of months, and it would be about my comments about religion. And she's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, well, you're going to have to find a way to defend it then.
Fuck you.
You have to find a way to defend it because I can't do it. I can't sit there and not say anything when a leader of a country says we're going to stop for 3 days for baby Jesus. All right. So at the end of it, it's okay. We're allowed to go back and kill Ukraine. Yeah. Ukrainians.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you hear what Zelensky said about the Christmas break that Putin wanted? He's like, yeah, fuck you. We're coming to get you tomorrow.
Good for him.
And the next day and the next day. Because that's all he wants. He just wants a break so that he can retool or fucking bring some more poor saps in that don't want to fight, kill more people that he fucking sends to war. That's what it is, dude. And it's part of the dude. And guess who he knows? Guess who he spent a couple months with in Russia a few years ago?
Oh,
that guy.
Yeah.
It all comes together, friends. Whether you like it or not.
Lost. When your head looks like it belongs on a puppet, that you're in trouble. Like
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
I think he's on the juice again. I think he's on the juice.
Dude,
he's gotta be. He's cutting off his own dick every day on Twitter. He's fucking fighting with the people who have the ability to take away his license. And he looks like he's dying. He looks like Tom Hanks in Philadelphia.
He's saying some really, really crazy things too.
Yeah. He's nuts.
He's saying like really crazy things.
I had 4 meals yesterday. That's why I don't look like that.
By the way, can I put this up? DaCosta did this for us today. I've never seen you. I've never seen you in a suit before, but I didn't know that you and Jordan Peterson had an album.
Wow,
it's coming out. Cross and Peterson's greatest hits. Look at these two well-dressed studs.
Oh, it's on RCA. Okay, I'm in.
Last but not least, you guys pay delivery fees. We were talking about tips earlier. How you tip?
Well,
try to avoid delivery fees.
Yeah, I guess we're going to try and avoid them like the plague after that conversation.
Yeah. Well, no, like delivery fees, like when you go and like you go get wood. It's like, nah, this can fit in my Subaru. Or you like, I bought a new nah, I can put
Dude,
this
I
in
am the cheapest dick on the planet.
Oh, then you'll
if
love
I can
this.
save $6, I will go out of my way.
Then you'll love this. This guy tried to avoid the delivery fee because he went and picked up an extra motor down at the auto wreckers. Oh man, tough day.
Oh no. Oh.
Do you hear the guy who's operating the forklift trying to fucking squeeze an engine block into the back of this guy's hatchback? And he demos the back window, and he's
That's
like,
Loc
"Oh
Subaru.
no,
That's
no,
me.
no!"
That's me.
That's Lachlan
That's
Subaru.
me. That is my Subaru.
Oh.
Bro, just a quick word of advice before we leave you today. Just pay the fucking delivery fee, guys. Seriously, women will. Men, you got to do the same thing. Ask for directions more and just pay the fucking delivery fee. That's it for us. Have a great day, everybody. That's Lachlan Cross, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. At Lachlan Cross on Twitter is where you can find him. 957cruisefm.ca. Listen every single weekday morning. Best rock and roll morning show in the entire country of Canada. Make sure you listen every single weekday.
That could be a lie, but I
it is.
appreciate your.
It's like 4 rock stations left, and the other 3 are garbage. No word of a lie.
Oh, so
Some
I'm
don't
the
even
best
have
of
morning
4?
shows anymore. Yeah, dude. And they
This
all
come
follow me.
together. No wonder I'm the best. Oh, see, I thought I was the best of a bunch.
No, dude, you are the best
You're the
for
best
good
of
reason because
4,
you're good at
Lach.
it. But there's only 4 left, so you got that going for you.
We had a good week. We had a lot of fun. We turned our celebrity death pool into a week of content.
Oh, for sure, because Barbara Walters died, right?
Barbara Walters,
Yeah,
that was a big
Jimmy
one.
won. Jimmy won. So we had to do death pool. We had to do prank calls for the. Oh, by the way, we came up with a really good wager for Monday, and we're doing our round 18 celebrity death pool picks on Monday morning. So tune in. By the way, follow me on Twitter, and you'll see the link to listen live. We post it every morning, so you can join in and help us too, because we always have to get listener picks as well for the celebrity death pool.
Anybody pick Elon Musk yet? Someone's got to take Elon Musk at some point. I think something's happening to him this year.
Or Jordo.
Yeah, I think he's going to OD.
Fuck.
You got to put Jordan, because that leads to so many great conversations about it. That's a great one.
I'm writing that down.
Jordan Peterson, you got to put Elon Musk in there. You got to put all the guys, because everybody's eating shit.
Yeah.
All those guys are eating shit, and something's going to happen. Some government's going to be like, we have to take him out.
Yeah.
I have a killer under 60 pick.
You get more points for under 60?
You get a bone if the guy that you pick is under 60 and he dies. You get a bonus pick in the next round. We have lots of rules like that. Now, my last under 60, which I think
all based around fun game, all based around death. That's a lot of fun.
But we have punishments.
Yeah,
like we have things that we have to do because of it, and we make it. We try to make it painful so that we can have some karma at the end of this.
I'm glad that Jimmy won, because you guys fucked him in the last one, in my opinion. I was on team Jimmy for that one. Absolutely, you did.
He picked Angela Lansbury, and she was already dead
6 hours before, and it wasn't announced. He knew. Somebody called Jimmy and said, "Hey, Jimmy,
the only reason he won is
Dave
because
Lansbury
he took my
here.
Barbara Walters pick.
It's Dave
I would have won this
Lansbury.
round. Fuck
Angela's
you.
dead. Put him in the pool."
Fuck you. Okay, no, hold on.
Who's your under 60? Can you get to that, please?
Don't.
It's got to be Musk. Throw Musk
it.
and throw Jordan's 60. He's the dude. Like,
No,
if
Musk,
this
you
isn't
can't-
if this
No,
isn't
Jordan
a
doesn't
great
work.
get, I don't know what is.
Yeah, no, Jordan Peterson is a good pick. I'm putting him
Yeah.
down. No,
You
the
should.
under 60,
You
my under 60
absolute
pick.
son of a bitch.
Okay, listen to me. I
Dude,
don't
it's
think Grant
impossible
and
to
Jimmy
not
listen
listen
to this podcast, so I think I can say it, but I don't want them to fuck me on this one. Oh, DeCosta, Phil Collins, he looks rough too.
Yeah, he does.
That's not under 60. Andy Dick.
Oh, that is a good one. Shit.
Oh, yeah,
You seen him
fucked.
lately?
Yeah, he looks
He
like
is
garbage.
a fucking
Isn't he living
train
in a
wreck.
shed?
No, I think so. Shed or an RV or something.
A shed behind his ex-wife's house or something?
Yeah, he's doing great.
Andy Dick is my under 60 pick.
Yeah.
Shit.
And he's always hammered
He's a
on
dark
fentanyl
horse.
and booze. Yeah. Oh, that's a great pick.
That is
I mean,
a really good
and
one.
the strategy has been
Do you have
over
to
the
pick
years.
cause of
right?
death when these people die? Like, do you get extra points for that too?
No,
you guys all pick old people, right? And that's easy, like Angela Lansbury.
but that's
You can
why
pick
we
that.
added
Yeah,
the.
she was
You
like
have
100.
to grab somebody under 60.
Okay.
You have to put somebody out of the 5, and one of the picks has to be a listener pick too.
I like it.
So you get a keeper pick from your round, so you get to hang on to somebody, and then you have to
Fantasy.
grab somebody underneath. What's that?
It's like fantasy. It's like fantasy football. Only
Yeah.
It's a
Dead
lot.
people.
We've stolen a lot of our rules from sports betting.
as you should.
We started doing this the first week we were a show.
And it's probably
And we've
huge.
been- yeah.
Can I just bring this up? You know how we watched the video of Dana White's slap fight league, power slap league, which got shelved by TBS yesterday
Yeah.
because he slapped his wife?
Can
And we're like,
can
that's
we run it
ridiculous.
on our
There's no way it
network?
should exist. Well, hold it.
I
don't.
thought you guys made that up.
No. But
It's true.
can I just
Grant
point
brought
this
it up
out?
again
If
this
that's real,
Yeah.
is there a reason why we maybe shouldn't be doing like a fantasy death league? Think about it.
I don't.
I think it might be huge.
Still doing picks on Monday.
How is it any different
Oh,
than what he's
shit,
doing on the radio?
Costa.
Right? It's the same thing. It's out in the open. It's a public thing. They have wagers. Do they not wager on this in Vegas?
Would
Is
it,
not a
would it
death
be
pool in
seen
Vegas?
as mean
You
spirited?
can bet on people dying in Vegas. Yep.
Yeah.
can?
So yeah,
They
there
have
you
prop
go.
bets at like Caesars and stuff, MGM. You can go to
Yeah.
the sports book and go, I'm going to take Bam Margera today. You can do that?
Yeah. You can also bet on a team that is from Canada losing in Game 7 in the first round of the playoffs again too. And I'm putting $100 down on that in April.
Maple Leafs. Oh, this is a good
I
one.
wonder
too.
what the
Michelle,
payout will be for me.
dude. Michelle Deckerby comes up with a good one.
What's that?
I like this. Rogan looks rough.
You know what? Rogan is one of those guys that you could. I'd throw some money
Have a
on Rogan.
coronary.
Honestly,
Yeah,
a
because he's
coronary.
like he just fills his body with all kinds of weird shit, right?
Yeah.
Like he's okay with it.
He's that guy. He's pumping things into his body left,
Yeah.
right, and center. I mean, this is coming from a guy that is going to drink 6 or 7 pill today, or what are this Paps
PBR.
PBR? But
Yeah, but you're
I
not
am
grabbing like
not
goat
taking
sperm
steroids.
from India and putting it in your asshole and saying it's going to give you some sort of special workout powers.
Direct from the goat.
One of the. Have you guys heard of the one chip challenge?
Yeah. Hot
That's,
ones
might-
one chip
that's
challenge.
crazy.
We might do that. So it's a Reaper pill pepper.
Yeah.
So they put it into a chip, and then you order it online and it shows up, and then you eat it, and guys are doing it, right? Like the hot ones thing is a bit of a craze, right? And some dude did this on the weekend, him and his buddy. And what was his name? I think his name was Brad or something. He called in this morning. He's like, "You guys got to do the one chip challenge. The 2 losers have to do the one chip challenge."
That's
And the
actually not
Reaper,
a bad one.
the Reaper pepper is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Cali-
I did that 2-3 years ago just with my kids. I vomited.
I have sauce
cute.
in my fridge that I can't. I've tried it once, and
Yeah,
it's
you
one of
can't
those
touch
you can take like a toothpick, just wet the toothpick and throw it into a pot of chili, and it'll spice the entire pot of fucking chili. It's so
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
nuts.
So
trying
anyway, I said to him, I said, "How did you fare?" And his answer was, "I had to wipe with a ice cube."
It's a great life hack, actually.
I'm like, well, that says more than you needed to say about how you handled the Reaper pepper.
Yeah.
Oh, it's true too. And the older you get, like the more you experience hot food twice. Where
Yeah.
you question, like, because you're 19, 20, you're like, hot ones, no big deal. Let's make this as hot as possible. And then you'd have a shit and you'd be like, oh,
I
whatever.
fucking want to do that Hot Ones show.
Well, let's do it. I'll do it with you. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'd love to do it. We should get Sean
We'll call
on.
him.
I wonder if he'd come on the podcast.
Probably. He probably
we've
would.
talked. Yeah,
Sean Evans?
let's work on that.
Have we
yeah.
tried to
Let's
reach out
ask
to
him.
him?
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
got Hot Ones Pringles, by the way. The dude turned it into like
Yeah.
a whole fucking brand. Like,
Dude,
they got
The Hot
he's
Ones
unbelievable.
Pringles are good. Have you
They're
had them,
unbelie-
Vince?
Yes.
Not
Dude,
yet.
I
No,
got
I
them
saw
like a
them,
few
though.
days ago.
Fucking, they're really
unreal.
good.
Are they
And he
really?
sends- And he's got this Hot Ones pack too. I think Lynn's. Maybe you got it. Did someone send you the Hot Ones pack where you get all the individual
sauces?
hot sauces?
Yeah.
that
You
was
get-
Rook.
Oh,
Rookie.
that's right.
Yeah. I've got
Rook's
something
into
similar.
that
It's not
show.
the Hot Ones, but I've got a similar one where it goes from like mild to like blow the top of your fucking head off, and you can never I like, as long as it tastes good, I don't care about the heat. Like I'll power through the heat, but if it's just heat, it's kind of gross. But yeah,
I want
I'm
to try.
I'm always up for
I want
a
to try
spicy
the
challenge,
bomb. That's the one where it goes from shit to fuck always.
Yeah.
Like there's like 4 or 5 of them, and then it's the bomb, and everyone's like,
My
I
my
wanna try
neighbor
that one to see where I'm at.
my neighbor here actually runs a company. It's barbecue supply company in town here, and he does it out of his garage. That's an
Why don't
online
you
business.
tell him that we're going to do it with him, and we'll do it here?
I'll go and see. I'm going
Yeah.
to talk to him and see if maybe we can get the similar stuff between the three of us, and we can all do it on the show. But he's
I'd do it.
he's a fan of the show. He watches us, so if you're hearing me,
Oh, good. Drop his name.
it's coming to see it. But it's great. It's barbecuesupplyco.ca, I believe it is. So,
All right. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
How many do they do on Hot Ones? Does Sean usually make them do? It's like 7 or 8 or 9.
8 or
something?
10, yeah,
Is
something
it
like that.
okay?
Yeah,
And it's
And
in
it's progressively-
increasing heat, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
try that one, boom, 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 and they get to the
The
10th.
thing about that show, and
People
and
cry, which I
the
love.
thing about that show for me that's interesting is Sean is a great interviewer.
yeah,
Like he does his research, and it's this YouTube show that's massive. And like I don't know about you guys, but I watch that all the time. At least once or twice a week.
same.
Once every couple of weeks, I'll watch one of those episodes, and I'll have
Love
it
it.
on while I'm doing work.
Yeah,
And he's such a good interviewer. I learned so much about.
Yeah,
the
it's a
guests
great
that he has
vehicle
on.
for content, right? Like, hey, it originally
Yeah.
just started out
Yeah.
as like, let's see if we can fucking make ourselves vomit and shit ourselves eating really hot sauces.
yeah.
And then, like, it became such a thing. And I watched this little interview with him, and it became such a thing with celebrities. They were like, they started contacting him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can I come on your show because I love
Mhm.
hot sauce? And he's like, sure. And then he's
Do you
had to
know
blow
how
it
many
up on his
people I
interview
know,
stuff.
Dean, that want to do that show? It's like a bucket list thing for them.
Hot
Like
ones,
I
yeah.
know so many guys that would I would fucking kill to do that show.
Yeah,
Like
for
I'm
sure.
not a celebrity. I'm not getting on that show, but I would kill to do that show.
I think
There's
it's
so
on.
many good
Someone's
ones.
saying Don is saying it's on Saturday nights on Global. You can
No
watch Hot Ones.
way.
It's like a TV show now. Yeah.
Is he getting
seriously.
Yeah.
I thought it was just YouTube. I did not know that it was moved over to cable. That's
fucking
interesting.
awesome.
Have to
I
look
love
into that,
stories
yeah.
like that too. Like a dude that just loved hot sauce, and he's like, "Fuck, I'm just gonna do this and just see if I can make myself shit my
He's
pants."
a fucking rock star too.
Yeah.
He does it with
He's
them.
huge. Oh,
Yeah.
I know. Not only does he do it with them, but he sources all the recipes, the bottles. He's
Yeah.
he's like an aficionado when it comes to hot sauce,
you know how-
and he's turned into a fucking media empire.
A
It's
lot
great.
of them come from here, from Canada. The one of them, Dawson's hot sauce. You see it on there
Yes!
all the time.
Yeah.
Dawson's is from. It's literally 20 minutes from my house.
There's one from BC on there, or was on there last year. Like, and he flips them out. He's really fucking smart because he moves guys in and out. Like,
The fact that he can keep it together too, when he's on that last wing with them and he's asking the questions, and the other person's just falling apart. Like you watch like Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay almost loses his mind. And he's like throwing up into a wastebasket. And he's like, "So tell me about your childhood." And he's just got the sauce all over his mouth. It's great to watch.
okay,
He's
the
so
Gordon
good.
Ramsay, he's got a new one with Gordon Ramsay that I found out about today.
Oh,
Because he's been on, this is his second appearance,
I
and
haven't seen that
he
yet.
just filmed one. And the other one that's really good that I watched during the break was the new Will Ferrell one, I love Will Ferrell. He's awesome. He's
Yeah.
so funny on that show.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Will Ferrell. The Paul Rudd one still is my favorite.
Yeah.
And Idris Elba. Idris Elba was awesome.
Idris
too.
Elba was good.
Idris
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
he's fucking,
Dave Grohl's was good.
is he the
Stud.
coolest
Dave Grohl's
fucking,
is awesome.
Dave Grohl's awesome. Is Idris Elba the coolest man on the fucking planet?
Yeah, without question. If he's not making movies, he's a club DJ. I mean,
Like,
he
come
does
on.
whatever he
Or
wants.
he's sleeping with your wife, one or the
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
Like he's doing
If you're the
something.
prime minister of this country.
Oh,
yeah, maybe.
he totally banged fucking Trudeau's wife.
I think he did. It was like early. It was early in the pandemic, and Sophie goes to one of those fraudulent we charity things in in England, and then there's her with Idris Elba, and I'm like, and then like 2 days later, it's like Idris Elba announces he has COVID. Sophie Trudeau announces she has COVID. I'm looking at the picture. They're really close. She's looking at him with puppy dog eyes, and I'm like, he crushed it.
Hey, he did it.
I wonder
He
why
totally got
she's
it in.
seeking that out, though.
He got it in.
I don't know. Guess it's as good as
Allegedly.
mine. Yeah. Anyway, that's it from us now. Have a great day. Lock across 957 Cruise FM and Edmonton.ca, 957.ca.
Have a weekend, boys.
You too,
at
pal.
Lock Across on Twitter. Lynn's Report. Download, subscribe that as well. The Lynn's Report anywhere you can find podcasts at Ryan Lindley. Love you. See you soon, buddy.
Night, man. Friday night podcast with James tonight. The Casual Friday. We'll see you guys at 9.
Yeah. I'll watch it. I won't be on it.
No problem.
I will watch it though. I enjoy it. It kind of works. It's weird.
It's a good
like
one.
Zero fucking format. It's weird.
Yeah, we didn't think it was going to, but it just keeps getting
Me
bigger,
neither.
So
To be honest with you,
I know.
even when I was on it, and I was on it once, and I was just way too high, and I'm like, I gotta go.
That's why we liked it, because
Yeah, I know.
having that aspect of it, somebody that's not too high and somebody that is too high, is pretty entertaining. So
It's not.
we'll
bad,
see you at
yeah.
9.
All right, man. See you
Have a
soon.
good weekend,
Tonight,
pal.
9:00 on the network. Thanks, buddy. You too. Ryan Lindley at Ryan Lindley is where you can find him on Twitter. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. Have a great week. Thanks for joining us this week too. We appreciate your company. Doesn't work unless you're not here. Thanks to Kristen Kimmick, Bills Mafia Babes at Bills Mafia Babes. Follow them on Facebook, Twitter as well at Kimmick86 is where you can follow her. Really appreciate Kristen coming on. She's already sent a nice note. She's going to come back sometime. Really appreciate her. And great news about Damar Hamlin. Thanks for delivering that to us, Kristen. Bills Mafia Babes. Follow them anywhere you get a chance to as well. Do it because they're like-minded community people and they love charity and they love to help. Leave it to women to make everything better. And thanks to Jordan Peterson for all the fun this week. See you next week, fella. I am going to tear you down for fun. And thanks to you for watching, listening. Our friends at kivlaw.ca, if you're looking for a great defense attorney, go to kivlaw.ca today. Rob Kivlikin is the principal there. You can email him personally. Robert at kivlaw.ca. If you are up against it legally, this is your best chance in Southern Ontario. Not only to get out from under whatever it is that's bothering you legally, but Rob is one of the best defense attorneys in Southern Ontario, maybe even in the province, and he wants to help you through it so that you can learn from the process and you can have a good life. Going through something legally doesn't mean you have to be chained to it for the rest of your life. That is what they do at Kivlaw Defense Attorneys. Go to kivlaw.ca, email Robert today. If you're up against it legally at all, Robert at kivlaw.ca, send him a note today. Also, Ed's Fine Imports. We're sponsored by his luxury branded boxer briefs called Gitch. GITCH3. That is your promo code. And when you send him an email, you get another 15% off at edsfineimports.com. You also get a free pair of underwear with that promo code Gitch, luxury boxer briefs. Pouch in the front. Listen, I can't keep talking about these in any more superlatives. They're the only underwear I wear. And you need to get a pair. And if you order 3, he'll send you a 4th for free. So who loves free stuff? You do. Go to edsfineimports.com. Gitch3 is your promo code. There you go. You did it. Now you got 4 pairs of underwear for the price of 3 boxer briefs and the best in the business, Canadian made by a Canadian company, edsfineimports.com. Speaking of Canadian companies, really proud to have partnered with Cantork, Canada's fine assembly tool experts. Colin Livingston and his gang have been in operation for 20 years, and they brought all of their manufacturing back to this beautiful country of ours over the past couple of years. Unique that way in serving Canadians and offering solutions at Cantork for people that need rugged, hardworking, beautiful torque wrenches. Canada's leading industrial tool experts, offering you the very best in sales, service, rentals, calibration, maintenance, and custom fabrication of industrial torque tools. No matter the scale of your bolting project, they have your solution. Visit my friends at cantork.com. Colin Livingston and his group out of Edmonton today. Trust me, they have your solution. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Don't forget to tip your server. No more than 20%. And if it's takeout, 0. And if there's a delivery fee on your pizza, you already tipped. Just letting you know. Have a great weekend. See you Monday. Bye.